to set the scene around what does it mean to create a personalised employee experience for people. And then I'm going to hand over to the stars of the show that will give you a insight into what they're doing in their organisations to make that happen. So when I think of personalisation, I tend to think of Netflix. So if you've used Netflix, you know what I'm talking about. When you log into Netflix, when I log into Netflix, I see 5 tiles. I see Dad, Mum, Thomas, Julia, Cassie, so all the family. And when I click on me, all of the videos and the things that are interesting to me come to me, and things that are recommended that I didn't even know about come to me. So it's a real personalised experience. If I went to Cassie, who's my 7-year-old daughter, I would see fairy princess movies and those kinds of things, which obviously as soon as I saw that I would disengage and move on to something else. So the idea of providing a personalised experience for employees is a similar concept. Employees expect to have that consumer-like experience for themselves. They don't check their consumer tendencies in the door when they come into your organisation. They expect the systems that they're using inside their organisation to be as flexible and as personalised as technologies like Netflix. But that's not necessarily happening. Most of the time we're giving people access to technology that's antiquated, difficult to navigate, and becomes a challenge. The other point is really around making it visually memorable. If you think of Facebook, on the app Facebook, they constantly change and update and add features to that. And when they do, we don't have to get a training session on how to use it. It just happens. We work it out. So any technology that we bring to these individuals, as we add additional features and functionality, we need to make sure that it's easy for them to engage. We don't have to train thousands of people how to use it again, and they can move on into the experience that they expect. The other piece, and this goes back to Netflix as well, one of the things that Netflix does really well is it dynamically brings new content to you. People that like this also like that. And our learning systems should be the same. Gone are the days where a learning management system, you'd scroll through a catalogue, you'd find a course, you'd read the course description, you try to make a link between what's relevant and what's not. Today's technology needs to use adaptive, predictive technology to surface up the information to you that's personal and meaningful to you. The other bit is really around mobile accessibility. I argue with my customers a lot about this. They expect that everything should be on mobile. And I don't think everything should be on mobile. Everything that's appropriate should be on mobile. But realistically, if I took your laptops away from you, you probably wouldn't be able to do your jobs effectively. And we shouldn't expect our learners to have to stare at a little screen all the time. We need to think about what mobile experience is. Sorry. So one of the other important things to think about is that millennials today are really focused on development, and they're looking at personal development as a priority over even work-life balance. We know we're going to be busy, we know that we're going to have to work hard, and we're going to have to find a balance between the two. But if we're not providing development opportunities for our employees while they're struggling with the concept of being overworked, then they're obviously going to disengage. It's a tough concept because they want to be able to grow and develop. So we need to make sure we focus on that. And the other key point is career aspiration, being able to give an individual in your organisation a path to growth, to see a future. In any relationship, if you don't see a future, that relationship disappears quickly. So being able to allow someone who's in HR, starting in HR for the first couple of years and wants to progress to be a HR director, we need to be able to give them a path now so they can develop themselves towards that. So that's going to be hugely important in engaging individuals. There's a study done by Deloitte, and I noticed this as well. Most of the organisations in the world are still struggling with old, antiquated systems. They're not providing the level of engagement and the consumer experience that you expect. So we've sort of created, and we built our technology and the concept of personalisation around 4 key areas. If employees are busy, make development simple for them. One size does not fit all, so make it personal development personal to them. If business is fast changing, then make the technology adaptable and make it scalable for the future. And finally, if employee experience is critical, don't send them out to 10 different systems. Bring them together, integrate those systems so it's clear and easy for them to engage. And I'll leave you with this point before I pass on to the rest of the team here. Your employees are looking for you to make investments in them. And if you're providing them with antiquated old systems, they'll know really quickly that you're not prepared to make those investments, and that's when they'll disengage. So think about that as a theme as we work through and we listen to the next speaker. So I'm going to pass on now to Vodafone.
Thank you,
Sarita,
Peter.
thank you.
Okay. So I think we've been hearing a lot about innovation, digitization, new technologies, and I think each one of you here, and I've, from the time I onboarded my flight from Mumbai, I've seen a lot of excitement on the TechHR app, where people were actually posting, waiting to get onto the flight, wanting to meet you, and things like that. So each of us here, sitting today, have been either wanting to learn experiences from other companies or platforms, or share experiences. So I think in today's diverse work cultures that we all are part of, work styles matter, and they really matter to a large extent. And we've also seen that companies that concentrate on employees, they really outperform their peers. And thanks to our very, very technology-savvy digital world that is enabling us to question why. Because I think the minute you step out of your home, you have an Uber, click it, 3 minutes, you know you're coming there. All of us have used apps for using, placing an order for food or online e-commerce. And it's so intelligent that big data and analytics has been studying every move of ours. And because of that, it gets personalized. So even if you go onto a Flipkart, you want to buy a book, it throws up similar books that you want to buy. And that is all about personalizing things, because this is building an experience genre and environment for us to have better experiences from a future fit aspect. So employee experiences, that is the next wave of workplace innovation. While we have technologies, we have platforms, and other ecosystems can build that. So all of you know Vodafone as a service provider, and I'm sure we definitely will have Vodafone customers sitting down here. Happy to know that. But there's another element of us, and that is what I'm going to spend the next couple of minutes talking about. So we service close to 200 million customers across the country. But to support that, apart from our own employees, we do bank heavily on extended organizations, third-party organizations, franchisees, to support us. So when you're driving things within your organization, it's different. But when you want to influence these extended arms and organizations to help you drive what you want to drive, now that is a different element altogether. So I'm going to spend some time in terms of how we've taken this to let the extended arms that have been supporting us to help deliver service through this entire journey. So I'm going to give you a quick peek into our ecosystem. Okay, so our spread is urban to rural. It's a divergent spread. So when I'm talking about this entire ecosystem, it's the ecosystem of our extended organizations that support us. We have some very experienced, proficient service partners that allow us and support us in this entire journey, with a very strong army and workforce to support us, almost 45,000 plus workforce to support us. And this divergent workforce and heterogeneous workforce supports us in almost 20 plus verticals across the organization, with multiple dialects, because we have 200 million customers across the country. We also have to support them in the multiple languages. Plus almost 10,000 plus touch points and hubs. Now this is the massive ecosystem that we have. And to ensure that we get them to align to us was the biggest journey. Because I'm sure driving change within your organization is an adventure and a task by itself. But taking this to another organization has another zing to it. So the big trial that lay ahead of us was unifying the learning experience. Because it's not your organization, it's the organization supporting you. So the whole big challenge was unifying the learning experience. And how we took this journey across, and we've leveraged multiple things to help us out, was the first step was building that brand connect. Because it was building that entire Vodafone brand sensitization for all these extended partners and our workforce to co-opt responsibility, to connect with us as a brand. Because the minute we had them echoing what we wanted as an organization, our business results, we got what we wanted. Once we've done that, then was elevating the experience standards with 20 verticals, with 45,000 plus workforce. The entire thing was uniforming skills. And uniforming skills because each element had a different aspect to deliver. And to unify those skills was building very strong content competencies, because you can't jump to innovation without building your foundation. So that is what we did in terms of building uniforming skills and that conscious connect to our customers, because that is what we have. And as an organization, we go with this tagline, power to you. So it's giving that power to the workforce to ensure that what you get helps you grow as a business. So once we empowered, once we unified, we built them to the next level to elevate their knowledge with building just-in-time learning solutions. So at the click of 3, when I say 3, because that's how technology says that, get me any information at 3 clicks. We built our entire ecosystem of our knowledge base to get the ever-dynamic information in the industry we are in, because things change overnight. And to get things overnight to massive workforce, we built very strong knowledge-based solutions to amplify their learning. Once we empowered, and I think organizations, the biggest thing is when you get talent, you want to retain that talent. And we ensured that to build these skills, multiple roles, we built custom roadmaps, skill-based roadmaps to help them grow and learn. So there's an entire bouquet of programs that we've created, leveraging on the platforms that we had. At any given point of time, if I want to move from skill A to skill B, I don't have to call for somebody into a session. I don't have to tell somebody, here's a portal, here's your e-learning, here's a little capsule, go ahead and do it. So it's all up for them in terms of elevating themselves to potentiate to the future. So the whole objective and endeavor was to build a learning culture with homogenizing the entire solutions we have. So we built a very strong learning container. There are solutions in the market. We, as a service provider, also have very converged solutions, not only that we do it within our organization, but we also offer that to other organizations. So this entire journey, definitely, when you add technology to your entire kitty, to drive experience gives you results. And that's exactly what we saw in terms of some very positive benefits, wherein our CSAT, which is the very core of what we deliver, we've seen tremendous impact in our CSAT, agent satisfaction, that's my workforce satisfaction, that increased. And this more by voice of customers, wherein they were happy because we left the learning open to our workforce. Because if they wanted to do well, they wanted to deliver to the business metrics, we allowed them to skill up themselves to perform better. Retainability and workforce stickiness, now that is big. So that is where we've seen some great impact. And overall cost, training cost is something that you want to see an ROI. So overall, we've been able to optimize our manpower. We've been able to leverage higher engagement levels. We've been able to go to market speed, because that is what business wants. We've been able to impact that. And overall, from an L&D perspective and training perspective, we've been seeing very, very positive cost reductions. So I think the entire paradigm shift of personalizing is moving from a facilitator and a learner-centered mode to a more learner-driven mode. Because the whole question is, who owns learning? It is the learner. So create that platform. It's the age of instant gratification, instant digitization. So we created that entire environment for our workforce to take that ownership to deliver. From classroom to e-learning, I think we've already passed the stage of e-learning. It's now moving to more social learning, learning amongst your peers. Individual and group focus is moving towards community focus. And I think definitely from an expert telling and facilitating, it's expert sharing, because everybody wants to learn. And it is our role as functional leaders to provide that. And that is exactly what we did at Vodafone to the organizations that supported us. So I think building a future-fit organization with the technologies that you have, with the USPs that each of your organizations can deliver, that is where you personalize experience for your people. So I think it's all about reshaping experience. I think there's a saying that goes that the blacksmith's horse and the cobbler's children always have the worst shoes. So to that effect, in the modern organizations, we leave very less impact to the employee experiences because we believe what's right for someone. But I think we need to leave that thought with experiences that people come back and tell you. And you have backed up with technologies, your data, which can tell you what does each skill, what does each role need. So I think we've seen huge strides in terms of user experience, customer experience. It's time to move on now to employee experience because once you concentrate on that, I think automatically everything fits in there. So that's been our journey at Vodafone. Thank you very much. I'd like to call on Deepa now.
Help me with how do I
green
move?
button.
The green one.
The green one.
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, good morning, everyone. So I think I see some familiar faces also here. The topic under discussion greatly aligns with NIIT Technologies philosophy, and that makes it more exciting for me to be a part of this conversation. What you see up there is the title slide of our HR presentations, whether we make it for our people that we onboard or to our clients or prospective customers. This is the header slide of all our presentations. And that, in a way, epitomizes the belief system of the organization, which is on recognizing the individuality of each NIITian. And I must tell you that we don't use the word employees in the company. The clan is addressed as NIITians. So the I in NIIT Technologies is actually recognizing the individuality of each NIITian in the organization. And that's an extract from our values and belief document, right from the day when the organization was formed in the 1981. The early years is when this page was written. And it's just not English statements for us. We've been living these beliefs for many years, and that's what has helped us build a people-oriented culture. And if you notice, it's talking about we believe that our growth is the derivative of growth of each one of us, and it heads, the paragraph heads with the title saying NIIT is people. So I think in all these almost 3 decades, we've been living these statements, and while building that people-oriented culture, and that's something that is also known, and I can see some old NIITians in the group here and who can probably relate to the fact that NIIT is known to be a people-centric, people-focused organization. And that's because of all the efforts and the works that have happened all through these years to build that culture. So I would say out of all the various things that we did while building this culture, there were some key milestones. Rather, I would say they are building blocks which have helped us sustain the people-centric culture all through. The first one being establishing people as a leadership priority. So we have structures and mechanisms like there's something called as a Chairman's Quality Club. There are talent boards, which ensures that leadership attention is brought into the people agenda on a periodic basis. So that's something that served us all this while, and make sure that the people piece of the whole business is addressed specifically. The next major milestone was when we created our competency framework and integrated all our talent systems. So that makes all the people-related processes talk to each other, feed in the information which makes the employee experience superior and seamless. And then as we moved, we realized the need for empowerment, especially when we acquired companies, when we graduated into newer geographies. We realized the need that it can't be just a paintbrush approach and the specific models that we've been using to build our systems. we felt the need for empowering work groups to adopt practices and customize as per the needs for their specific context. And then there was this big move in the 2010, in the early 2010-11 is the time when we realized that we're going to have this whole new millennial generation going to get into the workforce. And with our intent of respecting the individuality of each one of us, the organization actually started working towards preparing an inclusive environment for the new generation which was walking in. So which involved many things that we did from changing our workplace. Now we didn't have those cafeterias and gyms and salons inside our campuses, which we built in because the newer generation would look for things like that. So starting from work environment to building a connected workplace to recognizing the needs and aspirations of millennials, there were a whole lot of initiatives that the organization took. So that was another big milestone, I would say, that in the whole journey. And here we are now with the digital technologies coming our way, and Sarita spoke of how technology is helping us capture preferences of people and therefore make it more individualized, the experience. So traditionally, we've been using models and theories and our methods, usual methods of understanding needs and aspirations of people and building our HR systems around that. And that served a purpose so far by maintaining a healthy competitive attrition rates and retention rates for the organization, as well as comparatively good engagement scores. So whether it's technology or not, we are a technology company ourselves. We've leveraged technology as much as possible to build people practices which enhance employee experience. But it's not necessary that it is only technology. Whether we had or not, we've had several such schemes, policies, practices that we've been following in the organization with the intent of giving a superior experience to our people, which includes things like, the children of NIITians are called little NIITians. There are little NIITian-related schemes, policies. There is something called as an accelerator award. When you get 3 awards, then a conference room or a facility in the office premise is named with the person's name. So that gives a real good personalized feeler to this. There is something called as a dating allowance. A chauffeur-driven car is brought to your home to, on your wedding anniversaries. Happy Nappy Day, a compulsory offer. So there are many such things that we've been doing all these years with the intent of enhancing personalized experience for people. And then things like a career mobility portal where a person can actually charter his own career path. There is something called as a My Mobility map. He can choose which path he want to grow and select roles that he wants to pick up in the future. There's something called as a credit system, which guides him or her to pick up the learning initiatives that will prepare him for the aspired roles that he's looking forward to. And all of this is allowing people to take ownership and run their own dreams, drive their own dreams themselves. We have something called as a digital diary app, which gives ongoing feedback on an ongoing basis, on a day-to-day basis. It's a simple, you can share your achievements there. Your supervisor can give you a thumbs up for good things that you've done. There's a place to record feedback on a regular basis. You can raise red flags when you see that there are things which are not improving. There are career advice. There are achievements that you could share. So it's an ongoing diary that the individual maintains, and it's available for reference at any point in time. There is a gamified recognition portal, which allows, so recognition is not just awards, standard awards now. So there are crowns that keeps getting accumulated in the person's account as and when he or she is recognized, and he can redeem his crowns with things that he wants to buy. There's an online shopping portal within the same. So all this, a lot of these were when the millennial generation walked in, and we realized that they are the ones who are used to living in a world of this kind. And then, of course, leveraging on connectedness, social media. We built talent network. We built our internal social platform where like-minded people could form communities and groups and learn from each other. We have an ideas portal where people can contribute ideas, others vote for ideas, and then the best ideas are picked up and implemented across. It's recognizing what people want to do. So there are many such things. I just put some here. But the learning for us, while we've lived all this in so many years, is the biggest thing that we learned is experience is definitely not static. And loyalty calls for continuous and sustained superior experience to be provided to people. And here is where I think technology comes to our rescue today with the new age technologies like IoT and social location intelligence, analytics. All of this is making it very, very simple to recognize what individual preferences and behaviors are and provide real-time experience to people. For instance, we are a technology company. We do have to keep track of skill levels and proficiency levels of people. So earlier we used to have tests, and there would be standard skill assessment tests, and people would be bracketed on where they are. Now we have adaptive assessments. So depending on how the person is scoring, how he's behaving, the questions automatically, the engine automatically pushes different kind of questions, and the profiling is much more, it's much more comprehensive. We get to know where to bracket people on, what are their strengths and what are their developmental areas. Similarly, we have our LMS, which now tracks what are the kind of courses or the person is doing, and therefore what will interest him, so it will keep guiding him or her towards courses or seminars or anything that's happening around the area that he is already searching on. We have our own employee who built one of these things called smart parking system. He was trained on digital technologies and built that as a project, and we kind of adopting it for our own use. There are sensors, it's called a smart parking system, and there are sensors which could detect availability of space in the parking lot for a person to take his car there. So we thought it's an internally made app, so we could just adopt that. So that's IoT-based application. So I think having said that, this is the time for HR to really innovate, because suddenly there is this whole opportunity galore available to, and for us, we definitely feel, because our philosophy is to respect individuality and provide superior experience. And therefore, we now feel that with all of these technologies, there is a lot more that we have at our hand to reinvent and innovate.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah, sure. So
we're over time.
That's it. So that's basically what I felt that it's available for us to explore on further. I will hand it over to Peter to wind it up.
Thank you, Deepa. Yeah, look, we are over time, so I'm going to keep this short and sweet. I'm not going to get into the detail that I wanted to get into. We're at SumTotal are focused on these four elements. We're building technology around these four elements, and we're helping our customers achieve these goals. We're focused really strongly on making development simple and easy to use. You can see from some of the screenshots there, everything on the one page, everything easy, one click away. The ability to be able to if you want to go set your goals, you pick your goals, you set them, the system automatically populates it with content. You don't have to go digging for it. These are the challenges that people face. We want to alleviate those challenges. We want to give people the opportunity to develop themselves into new roles. And if we can do that by having job fit and job match technology inside our technology, people will engage the content. It's not just about doing courses, it's about how do I develop my career. And if there's something in it for you, you'll go to this technology. But if there isn't anything in it for you, it's very difficult to engage people. And I know that we all struggle to do that. Things like feedback, really important. People will need feedback today. Feedback shouldn't be a one-year event. It should be a continuous event. You should be able to request it, you should be able to get it, and you should be able to share it constantly. So being able to do that using mobile devices, do that while you're in meetings, these are things that we're innovating against that are making people connect to this technology. So just quickly, there's a payoff here, the development payoff. If you're putting effort into developing your people, you're going to, and giving them a career path, then your opportunity for them to engage and stay with your organisation is going to be key. We can't hire ourselves out of a skills shortage. We need to develop the people we've got. So invest in them, invest in this technology, invest in these systems, and you'll get a better result. So that was it for me. Please come to the SumTotal stand. We'd love to come and see you there. We've got 60 years experience doing this. Come and visit us. We can share our experiences with you. Thank you, guys. Thanks.